When you stop caring about the narcissist, you take your power back, and at the same time, you disempower them. Narcissists need you to feel dependent on them, to feel responsible for them, to always have them on your mind. They need somehow for you to be channeling your thoughts, energy, purpose towards them. And that validates them. It gives them a sense of purpose. It gives them that feeling of, filling in that empty void within. And it gives them a strong sense of control. Because as long as you still care about them, as long as you still feel dependent on them, as long as you somehow feel accountable for them, then you have that emotional bond, you have that tie, which allows them to exert leverage over you. So, depending on the nature of that bond, they'll, through their perception of what type of bond you feel towards them, maybe you feel dependent on them, or maybe you just want to make sure they are well, whatever the nature of that dependency, they'll then leverage that against you. So, for example, if you feel that maybe you want them in your life, you think that they are the person that can make you feel more whole, then and maybe you have an interest in them romantically, maybe you were together but not anymore, then they might try to make you jealous by posting things on social media that they know will trigger you. And that might either cause you to chase them to get them back, or it might cause you to not do that, but you will feel bad, you will feel jealous, you'll feel, stressed, and they'll know the impact that's having on you. Another example is, well, maybe you don't feel romantically about them, but maybe you wish them well and you want to make sure they're doing well. Um, if that's the kind of the bond that you feel towards them, then they will know how to draw on your pity. They they might make themselves out to be the victim of something, and if you're not really on talking terms on an ongoing basis, they could post something on social media, or maybe an intermediary friend, maybe flying monkey, might say something to you about how they're struggling, they need help, they need support, and you might even feel bad about yourself. Again, they can make you feel guilty, they can guilt trip you, and all you can think about is them and how you're bad because you're not doing well enough for them. So that's another way they can exert leverage over you. Or maybe they just maybe you were just never really on to them, onto their game, and they left you in this state of confusion. So just the fact that you're struggling with some form of dissonance, because it doesn't necessarily mean that they had to be a next romantic partner. It could be a next family member, or a person in some other capacity. Not an ex family member, um, a family member, but one that maybe you used to spend a lot more time around, but maybe you don't spend so much time around them now. But they left you in the state of dissonance because of they're very good at confusing people through just having these contradicting comments and ways about themselves. So the fact that you're confused, you're always thinking about them, they're living rent free in your head. It's it doesn't take much for them to keep that dissonance going in your head. They keep it alive. Maybe they might send you a message or do something that feeds on it, and that's just another way where you are channeling your thoughts, your purpose into them, and they get a lot of validation from that. They get a lot of purpose from that. So you can see there's so many ways where you can feel bonded towards them. You care about them. Care is a very broad term, but in one way or another, you are serving them through your thoughts, through your just they have a they've taken up a large part of your mental space, of your thinking, of your mind, and it's affecting you on a day-to-day basis. But the moment you reach the point where you just don't care anymore, there's no real bond that connects. And this tends to happen once you figure them out. Because once you've really figured them out and it's really sunk in, and you've decided that you're going to watch after yourself, there's not really much they can do anymore to to keep that bond alive. So you really do find yourself soon in the situation where you you stop caring, and well, once you stop caring, the narcissist very quickly picks up on that, and they really hate the feeling that they have lost that leverage, that control over you, that they can no longer get the supply from you, because they're no longer going to live rent free in your mind. They're no longer going to be able to extract, your essence towards them. And at that point, they can start becoming a bit panicky, especially if they really needed you in that way, if they really felt dependent on you in that way. If it was maybe a parent of yours or a sibling who had that dependency on you, even though you may not have realized, when you stop caring, they'll try to find a way to get back into your life. And not just get back into your life, they'll try to find a way to exert that leverage over you again. So narcissists, they'll poke and prod, they'll test the waters with you. They'll somehow try to put you into a position where you are where they exert leverage over you again. Maybe they conjure up some pity story where something happened to them, and that they know that you might have very empathic traits. You might be very, helping towards other people, and they'll play against that. They make you want to help them, to make sure they're okay. Or if you're a person who's super rational, who tries to make sense out of everything, and maybe you haven't quite worked out they're a narcissist, but you said enough's enough, and you've kind of went your own way, they'll make you doubt yourself. They'll throw some comments, do some things, maybe buy you a nice present, or say some very nice things about you, or maybe talk very good about you to other people, and those other people then relay the message to you, and then you're thinking, okay, well, maybe that person isn't as bad as I thought. So and then you overthink it, and then you start thinking that, oh, maybe I misjudged this person, maybe I'm the bad one. So again, they'll play that against you. But obviously they can only exert leverage over you again if you allow, but they will try, because the fact of the matter is, once you just stop caring, they they really go into a sense of panic, because they need somebody to channel that energy towards them, to care about them, to be controlled by them, because otherwise they start imploding in on themselves. They can't live just in their own skin. They have to feel that somebody else lives within their skin, that somebody else, that they live rent free in somebody else's mind, that they can play the emotions of somebody to get the reaction they need. And there's not many people they can do that to. Is usually there's very few people, and it's really hard for them to find replacements. So if you were that person and you serve that role, and now they realize they're losing you, they're going to try all kinds of ways to get back into your good graces, for the lack of a better word, back into your good graces. But what they really want is to be able to control you again. Of course, in the meantime, they're trying to find other people to serve that role. But again, it's not easy. If it was like, maybe your narcissistic parent, who maybe your father was a narcissist and your mother was the doormat, and your mother leaves, you know it's hard to replace that person who served that role. The narcissistic parent might try to use the kids as supply in that way, but oftentimes they can't make it work with the kids. And then maybe that parent who's now single, who finds themselves single, might go on dating apps and just try to sell themselves as the perfect partner, and they'll be testing the waters with potential victims to see who fits the role. But it's really hard work. It's really hard work for them to find the supply that's good for them. But what you need to realize is, you don't owe it to yourself. It doesn't matter who the person is. You don't owe it to yourself to be submissive in that way, because they have no problem in destroying you. They have no problem in making you sick physically, mentally. They have no problem incapacitating you by making you fully dedicate yourself to them and their cause, where there's nothing left for you. And if you have kids, you have your own family, they have no problem ruining your relationship with the people you care about so that you only focus on them. They have no problem doing that. So that's where you have to know, look who you're dealing with, and you have to draw that line. And yeah, not caring is the way to go. So sometimes the only way you can care about yourself is to not care about certain other people. And it's not an easy lesson to learn in life, especially if you like to help people and you have empathic qualities. But it's an important lesson if you want to survive and maintain your integrity and stay healthy.